gonna take crackerjack timing, Wang.
Total concentration. You ready, Jack?
I was born ready.
I have some great comic industry headlines to cover with you today. Marvel recently announced their latest 2019 event, Contagion. By my count, this makes 6 Marvel events this year, and they may yet announce one more. Jeff Lemire is helming 2 new DC Black Label series, Joker Killer Smile and The Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage. DC Comics also revealed legendary filmmaker John Carpenter will pen the upcoming Joker, You're the Villain #1. Finally, I'm going to run through some quick headlines, Absolute Carnage variant covers, a major printing error at Marvel Comics, and Thor's new look post-War of the Realms. It's time to get to business. The West is about to give you the goods on all the latest comic industry news. Comicbook.com confirmed a strange new threat is landing in the Marvel Universe this October. The 5-week Contagion event will tell the tale of a strange force that possesses the inhabitants of New York City. Heroes like The Thing, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Moon Knight will have to team up to stop it. The 5-issue miniseries is written by Ed Brisson. He's teaming with artists Roge Antonio, Steven Segovia, Mack Chater, Damian Couciero, and Adam Gorham. I cannot wait for readers to see this story, said editor Jake Thomas. It's a different kind of threat than our heroes are usually up against, and watching all their usual defenses crumble is going to be crazy exciting and more than a little scary. We've assembled a great team of artists, and Ed Brisson is firing on all cylinders, doing some of the creepiest, funniest, and most emotionally taut writing of his career. It's everything you want out of a big, crazy Marvel event, all packed into one wild month. When Jake Thomas hit me up in January to work on Contagion, he sold the series to me as street-level horror event, said Brisson. Obviously, Jake knows that I'm a huge street-level guy, but he also knows that I'm a huge horror junkie. He and I have talked for hours about horror films, so I think he knew it was an easy sell for me. I'm thrilled. Finally, I can put an entire lifetime of rotting my brain with horror flicks to good use. Brisson continued, the threat is a new one, something the Marvel Universe hasn't seen before. It's not often you really get to build a new bad from the ground up, and that's been a really exciting challenge here. Our heroes are unprepared for it. The Thing is indiscriminate, it's unpredictable, and it's unbeatable. I'm trying out some bonkers stuff in the series, really pushing a lot of characters to the brink. Some of them are characters I've been wanting to get my hands on since starting at Marvel. Counting Contagion, along with Acts of Evil, Age of X-Men, War of the Realms, Infinity Warps, and the upcoming Absolute Carnage, that's 6 2019 events for Marvel. That's not counting the Marvel Comics 80th Anniversary specials, Infinity Watch, or Jonathan Hickman's X-Verse reboot. It's all far too much in my opinion. Events are supposed to feel special. They're supposed to address a foe or circumstance so great the Marvel Universe needs to take notice. Under C.B. Cebulski and his legion of doofuses led by Tom Brevoort and Jordan White, Marvel events are just an extension of their constant cycle of reboots. Almost solely published to pump out new #1 issues with hefty price tags and ample amounts of variant and incentive ordering schemes. It's not clear at this time if Contagion is the previously untitled Marvel event slated for December 2019. On a positive note, Ed Brisson is one of my favorite creators at Marvel. For far too long, he was the lone writer I trusted with X-Men characters. His 2018 event book, Extermination, was the best X-Verse story or event in years. But it honestly doesn't sound like enough planning went into Contagion. Cycling through 5 different artists on one 5-issue series screams fast-tracked by Cebulski and his legion. It's a bit disappointing to learn editors are creating events and pitching creators. It seems like creators pitching events to Marvel would result in higher quality stories. Likely explaining this year's piss-poor crop of events led by Mega Bomb Age of X-Men, which I personally know was put together with almost no planning after Jonathan Hickman's arrival at Marvel was delayed. Contagion feels like more of the same mismanagement in an attempt to flood the market with new #1 issues. I have confidence Brisson's story will be quality, but no confidence in anything else associated with Contagion. Support this event at your own risk. It sounds much more akin to Age of X-Men than Marvel Civil War. Marvel isn't the only publisher announcing new projects with creative teams. DC Comics announced Jeff Lemire is leading efforts on 2 new DC Black Label series. Comicbook.com is reporting Jeff Lemire, creator of the Black Hammer universe and former writer of Frankenstein, Agent of Shade, is returning to DC for a pair of new Black Label projects. The first of the 2, Joker Killer Smile, is coming in October from Lemire and his Green Arrow collaborator, Andrea Sorrentino. The next month, The Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage, will bring Lemire together with Denys Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz to explore that character in depth for the first time in years. Cowan did some of his most notable work on the character of The Question in a legendary run by Denny O'Neil. Sienkiewicz also contributed to that run and recently worked with Cowan on Deathstroke with writer Christopher Priest. Lemire left DC for the most part after the New 52 Future's End, but recently revisited the publisher in a story that crosses his Black Hammer characters over with the Justice League. In Joker Killer Smile, Lemire and Sorrentino will share their own interpretation of one of the darkest characters of the Batman mythos, the Joker. For years, the Joker has terrorized Gotham, facing off with Batman time and time again, but now he's found a new adversary, one that can deliver him from the purgatory of Arkham Asylum and set his madness free once more. The very doctor tasked with treating him. As he gets his hooks deeper and deeper into the mind of his prey, Joker sets off a chain reaction of mayhem that will threaten to tear down not only Gotham City, but the soul of this idealistic man and his young family too. Getting to work with my longtime collaborator, Andrea Sorrentino, on a Joker story is very exciting, said Lemire in a statement, and we wanted to create something that challenges readers to look at him in a new and horrifying way. In The Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage, Lemire, Cowan, and Sienkiewicz launched a philosophical mystery starring Vic Sage, The Question. Building on the legacy of Denny O'Neil and Cowan's previous run, it begins in an early hub city where an unsolved mystery has led to the demise of The Question, and history will soon repeat itself. Beginning in the Old West and continuing through the lawless 1930s, the answers needed to solve the problem are out of reach and may doom The Question once again. The faceless man who believes in absolutes will soon find himself in a world where it all blends together, and escaping this trap is the only way to set himself free. Denys Cowan's run on The Question has been a touchstone for me as a creator and a fan of comics for a long time, Lemire said. Getting the chance to team with Denys and Bill Sienkiewicz to return to Hub City and Vic Sage is a dream come true. DC Comics is going a bit too far with all the new Joker and Harley titles. It also feels like it should be called DC Bat Label rather than Black Label at this point. When Black Label was announced, I couldn't have been more excited for mature comics created specifically with high-end collectors in mind. DC has completely watered down Black Label the past month. I'm very hesitant supporting any of these books moving forward, especially if DC continues pricing them between $6 and $8. I'm going to address Joker in more detail after the next headline. I am very excited DC is launching a new miniseries for The Question. Jeff Lemire is one of the better writers in the industry. Denys Cowan illustrating the character for the first time in years is fantastic news for fans. His work with Denny O'Neil on The Question in the late 80s is spectacular. I'm a bit surprised they're including Bill Sienkiewicz on the creative team. He's among the most unprofessional creators towards readers in the industry. There are many customers interested in this book that will likely pass it over after seeing his name in the credits. Nevertheless, followers of The Question should be much hyped for the Deaths of Vic Sage. Jeff Lemire and Denys Cowan are a very exciting creative duo. Jeff Lemire isn't the only electrifying name announced for a Joker series. Legendary writer and director John Carpenter is joining in on the Joker action. Newsarama reports seminal filmmaker John Carpenter and Borderlands 2 writer Anthony Birch are co-writing a 40-page Joker one-shot tying into DC's Year of the Villain event. The Joker Year of the Villain #1 is scheduled to be released October 9 and will be drawn by artists Philip Tan and Mark Deering. The Year of the Villain follows Lex Luthor, now reborn as a human-alien hybrid, offering various DC villains and even some heroes heightened abilities and or tools if they'll join his Legion of Doom. But the Joker, being Joker, isn't waiting by the phone for Lex Luthor in the Joker Year of the Villain #1. This puts the Joker on a mission to get his swagger back in a world gone bad by outbatting everyone else, proving that the greatest evil is always the one that leaves them laughing, reads DC's description of the one-shot. The Joker is the greatest villain in comics, said Carpenter. I'm proud to be reunited with Anthony on this project. Carpenter and Birch have worked together previously on Boom Studios' Big Trouble in Little China, Old Man Jack, and Carpenter runs Storm King Productions with his wife, filmmaker Sandy King Carpenter. I'm excited beyond words to be writing for Gotham's greatest villain, said Birch. I hope the Joker's exploits make you laugh, shudder, and grow nauseous all at once. The Joker Year the Villain #1 is scheduled for release October 9, 5 days after Warner Brothers' The Joker film. This is part of DC Comics' strategy to flood the market with Joker-themed series coinciding with Warner Brothers' upcoming Joker origin movie. DC is scheduled to release July's Detective Comics 1008, Batman Curse of the White Knight, September's Harleen, October's Joker Harley Quinn Criminal Sanity, The Joker Year the Villain, Joker Killer Smile, and 3 Jokers whose release date is to be determined, all featuring the Clown Prince of Crime. John Carpenter is a very exciting name to add to an eccentric list of creators. Carpenter is famous for many cult classic films like Halloween, Escape from New York, The Thing, They Live, and my personal favorite, Big Trouble in Little China. Carpenter has particularly adapted horror-themed stories with comedic elements, making him a great fit for Joker. He's written 7 comics the past few years, including 2 Big Trouble in Little China spin-off stories and 2008's Batman, Gotham After Midnight. I'm personally a bit fatigued by all the Joker and Year the Villain announcements, but I'm definitely picking up the Joker Year the Villain due to Carpenter's involvement on the project. Moving to a subject that's sure to kill reader interest in Marvel's upcoming Absolute Carnage event. Marvel Comics announced a host of new variant covers for their next event led by superstar Donny Cates. This is all par for the course at this point. Marvel devises variant cover and incentive ordering schemes to dupe retailers desperate for rare, high-priced new books into ordering above their means. Absolute Carnage also comes with a hefty $8 cover price and 60 pages. This would be exciting if Marvel Comics didn't apply these tactics to virtually any book that may generate interest from readers these days. The double-sized Absolute Carnage #1 just feels like Marvel's latest attempt to screw over retailers and readers. Look out for a video tomorrow detailing Marvel's newest variant cover scheme. It's the scummiest behavior from C.B. Cebulski and his legion of doofuses yet. I'll also be hosting a special live stream on Sunday with 2 retailers and at least 1 pro to talk about Marvel's newest scam and other industry issues. Speaking of Donny Cates, the Marvel megastar returned to Venom this week following its War of the Realms tie-in books. He's moving Venom and the rest of the Marvel Universe towards the upcoming Absolute Carnage event. Unfortunately, this week's Venom, number 16, features a major printing error that removes several of the captions from a double-page battle scene. Marvel's very green editorial staff are notorious for all kind of spelling, grammatical, and printer errors these days. Donny Cates took to social media to share the full version of the page with fans. Tomorrow, I'm back on Venom with issue 16. So happy to return to this insane story, Cates wrote on Twitter. We had a printing error that dropped a few captions from the initial double-page spread, so here's the actual version. Do me a favor and share this so folks see it. Thanks. As you can see in the images, the original version was missing 3 captions. The first is right in front of the green light in the traffic signal, while the other 2 are next to Thor, though all the other ones seem to have made it on the page. Speaking of Thor, the Norse god is sporting a new look these days. Comicbook.com reports there was a lot to process in Marvel's War of the Realms Omega #1, especially in regards to Asgard and Thor. Thanks to the events of War of the Realms, Thor has a whole new set of responsibilities on his shoulders, and we saw a bit of the effect that extra weight is having in War of the Realms Omega, specifically in a scene alongside Jane Foster as he looked upon the fallen Valkyries. That scene didn't just reveal his sadness though, as it gave us a look at the now Allfather's new costume, and it's one befitting his new position. At one point, Thor walks into the hospital to meet Jane and sees the fallen Valkyries, and he comes in with a tweaked suit. The costume retains the royal blue and gold accents look, but the big change is the cape. He's wearing a cape that's lined with fur, and paired with his silver helmet, arm, and gold eye patch, it's quite an impressive upgrade and gives the suit a more kingly appearance. As you can see in the image, Thor is also holding Mjolnir once more, something that happened during the final issue of War of the Realms thanks to some smart thinking from Thor. He now doesn't have to have dozens of hammers at his side, as the true hammer has returned. I was not a fan of War of the Realms. The series was focused far too much on elevating Jane Foster to the mantle of Valkyrie. The only good news is, Thor's new look is honestly pretty cool. I'm also very happy he's in possession of Mjolnir once again. That wraps up today's comic industry news coverage on Thinking Critical YouTube. Marvel continues flooding the market with unwanted comics and events with recently announced Contagion event series. DC Black Label is quickly becoming DC Bat Label with another Joker series led by Jeff Lemire. Lemire is also helming a new The Question series at DC Bat Label with Denys Cowan. Cult favorite director John Carpenter is also writing a Joker series coinciding with Warner Brothers' upcoming Joker origin film scheduled to bomb in theaters in early October. Marvel continues ripping retailers and readers off with variant covers and pricing schemes. Marvel Editorial continues doing what they do with a major printing error on Venom this week. Finally, Thor features a new look and Mjolnir just in time to worship at the feet of the newest Valkyrie, Jane Foster. Thank you so much for joining me here on Thinking Critical. Be on the lookout for a very important video on Tuesday. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.